How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious, and at the time of filming this video, any minute now, the game is about to go under maintenance for the new update. This update will take 2 hours, and when this video comes out, the update should just be ending. Maybe there'll be like 30 minutes left in the maintenance time. It depends how long it takes. But just know, when this is coming up, all the update changes I'm talking about in this video, and there are some very exciting changes in this patch. They are already going to be going live, like right when you get back into the game. So trying to get perfect timing here. We'll see how we do. Guys, if you have checked the timestamps on this video, it's a long one, but that's because this update is really big and I have to talk about this guy over here, Mr. Kagiri. If you appreciate this video, and especially if you watch the whole thing or you just want to support me, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a big thumbs up. We are less than 800 subs away from 50,000. Thank you so much. Let's begin. This is a big update. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of changes to heroes. I actually want to start over here, and maybe this is the reason some of you guys clicked on the video. I believe right now, this is still the same official update, and this is where I'm going to break it down. This was just the form the patch notes were shared in on the Discord server, the official Watch Over Realms Discord server, not in-game, but I believe the game's about to go offline. So let's already cancel out of this and let's talk over here. But like I'm saying, the reason I think many of you may have clicked on this video is this guy over here. Because one thing Watcher of Realms and Moonton basically never do, and maybe someone could dig up some instance in the past of this happening, but on the whole, they never like fake tease us, right? They never give us a visual kind of cue or teaser moment or clue that is fake. So there is no doubt in my mind, and I will, if you can think of something I should wager on it, I will do that now. There is no doubt in my mind that Kagiri, being the singular featured hero on the banner artwork for this set of patch notes on the official Discord server. I'm right here right now in the Watcher of Realms official Discord. These are the patch notes and the art style for the patch notes as prepared by Moonton. There is no way it is a coincidence that Kagiri is here. Yes, Kagiri is one of the units getting a buff, getting a rework, but it is a singular visual effect change, as you're going to see, and then one little boosted thing where he gets longer invincibility, but effectively, this is a bug fix. This is not a change in the game. They're correcting a problem. So you could argue, maybe some will in the comments, I don't think people will when they hear my argument for this, you could argue he's getting featured here because he's one of the many units getting a buff. But the key buffs coming with this patch, and there are a couple, that's like Gwendolyn, who's getting an entire rework. That's like Venoma, who's getting an entire rework. Even Numera, it's a small change, but it is significant. Lots of things like that. Kagiri's is like the equivalent of a rounding error when it comes to a hero rework. I mean, they are fixing a visual effect bug, and then effectively they are remedying an issue that was hurting the players with a tiny bit of invincibility they owed us. That's not enough to get him on the banner. I believe him being on this banner is their way of hard confirming. Maybe hard is not the right word, but I believe this is hard confirmation. He is either getting a banner, or more likely, they will do their second ever exclusive limited Selector banner. So with the anniversary, they teased that the Lucky Pick exclusive guaranteed hero banner would come back, but it would only be for special occasions. And they have proven throughout the game's existence over 2.5 years now that the most special occasions in the game are the anniversary and then the winter Christmas season. We're about to hit Christmas and New Year's, and I am going to hedge a bet right now. They are gonna either rerun Kagiri or most likely do that second ever, whatever they call it, Lucky Pick exclusive hero guaranteed Selector banner. So why do I think it's more likely they're going to do the limited Selector as opposed to just running a pure Kagiri banner, which, by the way, they've never done as a rerun? We had his initial banner in October 2024, and they've never rerun him. Well, it's simply this, and as we get into the patch notes in just 1 second now, Gwendolyn is getting a huge buff. And there's no way they would give Gwendolyn such a significant rework if they were not about to make her available. They're also introducing a ton of new Northerners. They revealed in the dev Q&A I did with a couple other CCs over the summer that they had a new Ancient exclusive Northerner in the works. I believe that unit's going to come. We know other Northerners are coming because we know Ireless is getting a bond skill. That should be in here somewhere. Here you go. She's getting a bond skill with Rivenhald. So whoever that is, I'm sure it's a Northerner because everything's Northerner right now. That's a unit that's confirmed. Maybe that's even the Lord. We will see. Maybe it's a new limited. But I think there's no way they're going to run two limited banners where one of the limiteds is not new, right? So it either would be a new limited banner and Kigiri, or a new limited banner and a Selector, or just one banner. And if it's just one, I think it's going to be a limited Selector banner. So I want to get that out of the way. Some of you might think I'm just speculating, and in theory, I am. I guess in practice, this is technical speculation, but as someone who has existed with this game as long as any player outside of the OGs on the Forerunner, and as someone who's covered it every day for 2.5 years, nearly 2.5 years, I'm very confident in this prediction. So Kagiri on the banner artwork here is something I wanted to point out. This is a direct Easter egg, in my opinion. They are telling us a Selector banner is coming for a limited guaranteed 200 exclusive, or maybe finally they're going to rerun Kagiri. But there you go. Let's get into the actual patch notes right now. They should, at this moment, have just gone underway. So it's happening at 7:15 p.m. Pacific time. I'm in Mountain time, so that's 8:15 for me. 8:15 p.m. just passed. So right now the game should be under maintenance, and they predict this maintenance will last for 2 hours. So this video will be coming out in about an hour to an hour and a half, and that will line up perfectly, I hope, with the update ending. Sometimes they do it really fast, though. When you're watching this, the update is live. So let us begin, and let's get into the actual juicy details here. You can see they're doing the new standard for compensation, the generous 300 diamonds. And if we get into the content, they open up with Guild War information. I'll go over this last at the very end because, frankly, Guild Wars is not my expertise, and it's not something I care that much about. Also, I don't find these changes to be that noteworthy. I'm sure if you want a deep dive on this, you could go check out Mango or Corey or maybe Chady. There's a lot of really good PvP guys out there. If you want me to break it down for you, we'll do that at the end of the video. But let's get to that good stuff, baby. And the good stuff is always hero buffs, hero reworks, whatever you want to call it. We'll go down the list, but I'll tell you right now, Gwendolyn and Venoma are becoming new heroes, basically. These are heavy reworks, and it's in a very positive way for the players, for our community. And Numera is getting a small change, but it is very positive. It's going to make her a lot more consistent for a lot of things. She's already the magic damage melee single target slayer. She's getting elevated. She's going to get even a little bit better. Let's start at the top, though. We've got Torador. This is just basically a gameplay bug fix. If you don't know, Torador has a resurrection as part of his kit. He has this little delay when he dies, and then he comes back alive with full health. If you have him A5, he can do that a second time. So per deployment, he can be revived twice. There was an issue with that second revive that comes with his A5. They're saying sometimes it could fail to trigger if he died too quickly after the first one. They have fixed that. Now, Kagiri's getting 2 changes. The first one is just some kind of visual bug with his strikes. So he's got the sweeping strike and the ember strike. It's the same kind of animation. They're fixing a visual effect issue. I don't know what it is. More importantly, though, they're actually fixing a gameplay issue where when Kagiri did his sweeping strike or ember strike, either of his strike mechanics, and he did them during his ult stance, right? When you actually ult with him, you go into Tranquil Reflection, he sheathes his weapon, and he gets ready to counter and strike back. Sometimes he wouldn't get the adequate amount of invincibility because during that animation, he's supposed to be countering and he's supposed to be invisible. It comes out to like a second or two of invincibility. It's pretty important for certain things. And they're saying for a short period at the start of that, he didn't get his invincibility. That is now fixed. Sithra, this is just, I don't know, basically semantic. They fixed something in the description where the unit in the talent is now specifying that it doesn't include units that were not summoned by her. Cool. Narissa, this is pretty good. This is something I'd like to see everyone that has like targeted buffs have added to their kit. If you don't know, Honora, for example, is a unit who has an ability called Sanctity. This keeps her from getting debuffs placed on her, but she also cannot get buffed. So now Narissa, like some other units in the game, is going to optimize targeting her Abyssal Favor buff on units that are not Sanctity units. So you're not going to have these issues where she places Abyssal Favor on a Nora who will not benefit from it. Instead, it will go to a more worthy DPS that can benefit from it and can actually be buffed and does not have the Sanctity condition. Let's get into the pretty juicy stuff now with Gwendolyn. I'm going to try to go pretty fast because without a doubt, I will make a full video on the new and improved Gwendolyn pretty dang soon. But Gwendolyn, the Northern Star, her ultimate, Icy Shell, this now applies a shield equal to 70% of her max HP to all allies in range for 10 seconds. Previously, it was something like, at least at a 0, she would give one ally a really big shield, and I think it was adjacent allies. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, but the game is officially down now. I think it's adjacent allies would get a portion of that shield, like 50% of it. I think when she was at a 3, they would get the full thing. Maybe it was everyone in range, maybe it wasn't adjacent, but it was insufficient and it was unreliable. Now everyone's getting that nice 70% max HP shield lasting for 10 seconds. Shielding, I believe, is about to become a lot more important. I think they're going to do this like shield team. The way we got the summoner team with the cultists, and then we got the poison team with the esotericists. I think the new thing with the northerners is going to be the shield comp. That seems to be what they're pushing out. Now her passive, Shield of Hope. When a shield applied by this hero to an ally expires, it is going to always restore up to 10% with skill ups, 10% of the target's max HP, and grants 2% rage for 1 second. This is very, very clutch. This is a consistent way that she can heal now, and she is going to give a strong amount of rage regeneration. 2% rage per second is about as high as we see. So for example, if you have Eloin on the field who's giving units 1% rage per second, this, for that 1 second, would take priority. So it's an extra 1% of rage. And then if you don't have someone like Eloin, it's just like a full 2% for that 1 second. So it's a nice little buff. If we continue, her second passive over here, Frigid Flurry, when a shield applied by this hero to an ally expires, it's going to inflict 10% physical damage vulnerability and up to an 8-second slow with full skill ups and a 1-second freeze with full skill ups on up to 3 nearby enemies. So when a shield expires on an ally that she applied, she is going to not just give the heal and the rage regen as we saw from over here, but also she is going to apply debuffs and crowd control effects to nearby targets. So 10% vulnerability, this is pretty strong. The Northerners are definitely a physical damage faction, so physical damage vulnerability on the enemies is good. And then the nice slow, the nice freeze, this is very good crowd control. They're also buffing her awakenings. They want you to pick her if they do a selector, or if they run her banner, they want you to summon for her, and they want you to keep going and get some awakenings. So at A1, when Frigid Flurry is triggered, the number of enemy targets +2 and the vulnerability is increased to 20%. So she's going to hit those nearby enemies when those shields pop on allies. When they expire, she's going to hit them with a 20% vulnerability, and then that vulnerability, slow, and freeze are not going to only hit 3 nearby enemies, they will also hit an additional 2. So 5 nearby enemies total. At A3, when taking fatal damage, gains unyielding for 5 seconds, so some kind of unkillability for Gwendolyn. During this time, all allies within the hero's basic attack range restore 10% of their max HP per second. So over these 5 seconds, they will gain 50% of their max HP back, unless they're taking damage during that time. But total, they'll gain 50% HP over that time. This can only be triggered up to 1 time per battle. Finally, the A5. After she casts her ultimate, Icy Shield, she's going to increase her max HP by 10% permanently, and this stacks up to 3 times. So this is an ult she's going to cast a lot. It's a key part of her kit. After just 3 casts, she has a permanent increase to her HP of 30%. Obviously, her shields scale off of her HP. This is pretty important. Now, Venoma is basically getting converted into an AoE mage. From some testing Behemoth was doing on the Forerunner server where this buff is already live, she was pretty dang capable in Matrix 1, the Bulwark phase, right? The magic damage phase. Like, she was superior in damage to Ingrid, for example, in some of the targets. That's not to say in general content, Venoma is better than Ingrid. Not even close. But in strictly AoE content, she is now relevant and deployable. So she's going to be an AoE mage. All damage types have been changed to AoE magic damage. Her basic attacks will now hit up to 3 enemies, dealing 100%, and then with skill ups up to 120% damage. 3 enemies is more of a multi-target than an AoE, but hey, it's better than it was before. And then most importantly, the ultimate is much improved. I'm actually going to continue down here. I can see they double posted this. It's clear to see here when you get this Venoma break. But her ultimate, she's going to channel for a second, and then she deals up to 560% damage to enemies in front of the area and inflicts Hex for 10 seconds. And this is a proper AoE. That Hex has now been buffed as well. Hex previously was a pretty weak dot. Now it's a pretty good dot. 35% continuous magic damage per second, and she's applying it with an AoE hit. So pretty solid increased AoE damage. We've got her passive here, Olden Curse, a new interaction with Hex. When she inflicts Hex on enemies, she's also inflicting them with slow. It's a 50% slow, and it can last up to 6 seconds with skill ups. That is a really, really long slow. Her second passive now, Cursing Gaze, after every 7 and then as little as 5 attacks with skill ups, the next attack is going to deal some increased damage, up to 280% damage to enemies, and it also inflicts Hex for 10 seconds. So she can put Hex out every 5 attacks with skill ups from that Cursing Gaze. She can put it out with her ultimate. It's really good. The Hex is going to bring damage over time, and it brings a very strong slow. This is all very significant. She's getting a lot better. Now you'll see you need her all the way at A5, which I think is insane, but all the way to A5, her basic attacks now start hitting 5 units instead of 3. Is she going to be a god now? No. But is she going to be usable in a lot of content? Absolutely. Previously, Venoma was undeployable. She was useless on the battlefield. Now she's going to be a good AoE mage. I will say her Lord skill still has almost no relevance outside of the early and mid game, but beggars can't be choosers. She's much better now. Now we've got Numera. This is a very small change, but it is very good. Her talent has been buffed, and effectively over a large amount of time, it is the same, but what it is now is the talent benefit is guaranteed. So before, all of her basic attacks had a 50% chance to launch 1 additional Grimthorn spike. Grimthorn spikes are like a key mechanism in her kit. Now, instead of having to deal with a 50-50 that you could miss 5 times in a row or hit 5 times in a row, they're just guaranteeing it will be every other. So after the change, she's going to launch 1 additional Grimthorn spike every 2 basic attacks. This is so much more consistent. So yeah, you lose the upside of her getting really lucky on the 50-50 and hitting 3, 4, 5 of these boosted basic attacks in a row, but you also lose the downside of missing 3 times, 4 times, 5 times in a row. So now it's guaranteed. 1 hit, no Grimthorn spike. 2nd hit, guaranteed. Back and forth, back and forth. This makes her a lot more consistent. This is going to make your boss runs a lot better. Now, Nastia is having her Awaken 1 boosted. The poison immunity duration is now increased by 5 seconds. This is something she gets from her passive. It's now better at A1. We look at Sadie. They are buffing her as well. Her special Song of Courage skill, the max HP effect description has been modified. Before it said that it increased the target's max HP by 20 up to 30% with skill ups. After, she's going to apply what's effectively a buff, max HP increase to all allies. So just changing the wording, but it should be a lot better because practically I don't think it was working like that before. That max HP increase is going to increase the max HP of all those allies by up to 30%. So that's pretty cool. This is not something we see much in the game, this increased HP effect, and it's going to be very strong. Philippa is having a description modified. She's going to prioritize attacking airborne units. Literally could not care less. She is terrible. Ireless, however, is phenomenal, and she is getting a new bond skill. And this confirms the introduction of Rivenhald. We don't know who that is yet, but I would wager some money it is going to be a Northerner, because the bond skill is called Winter's Blessing. So Winter's Blessing is a bond skill you get on Ireless as soon as you obtain Rivenhall, and it unlocks the following bonus effect. When Healing Prayer triggers healing, it's going to increase Ireless's attack speed by 100 for 5 seconds. So every time she triggers healing from Healing Prayer for the next 5 seconds, she has boosted attack. She gets maybe 1, maybe 2 more heals out. Probably 1. It's something. It's not bad at all. We're getting an artifact buffed as well with Regulus, and in addition, Kane is getting a new artifact. He's never had an exclusive artifact. So starting with Regulus, it's just a description change. This whole max HP thing, this max HP buff, temporary boost, whatever, with Sadie and with Regulus, it's basically semantic. They're just changing the descriptions. Kane is pretty exciting, though. He has his exclusive artifact Leviathan getting added. It's going to increase his AoE damage up to 30%. That's nice if you choose to build him as a DPS. A lot of people won't. It is the secondary effect that's so strong. He is going to grant 15% penetration to adjacent allies. So unless there's a stronger penetration effect out there, this is basically a passive penetration boost, allowing allies to ignore magic resistance and defense by an additional 15% to everyone directly touching his tile. So if you imagine him in a center tile, those 8 tiles that make up the square around him, allies in any of those are going to get this penetration boost. It's going to be similar to what Magda does with her passive. Here, only the penetration boost. Very nice stuff. So cool things with the heroes, cool things with the artifacts, really just with Kane. The Regulus thing, it is what it is. So let's go to the arena now. In the arena, you can now view your BP, the opponent's BP, and the stage's monster's BP from the team setup interface after selecting an opponent. So once you choose an opponent and you enter into battle, you're going to have your BP, their BP, and then also the monster BP revealed. The monster BP side of it is new. Next up in the arena, you can now view your BP and the stage monster BP when editing your defense team. So even before you see your opponent's BP, so that's another way to get a view at the monster BP. And then most importantly by a lot, the arena monster base attribute calculation has been adjusted. Monster base attributes have been increased. Commanders, please update your lineups and autofight records accordingly. This is in response to people intentionally tanking their BP in a way to manipulate fights. So you kind of couldn't beat some defenses and you also couldn't lose with some offenses. It is less black and white than I made that sound, but it was some gamesmanship and manipulation of BP that hopefully this is going to solve. Now there's some good stuff hidden on these last 2 pages in section 5, other optimizations and fixes. So first up, they've adjusted the season score reset calculation rules for the Honors Gauntlet. This is the tournament at the end of each GVG season. They're going to increase the score deduction ratio for higher ranking brackets. Next up, this is pretty cool. Autofight optimization. The next one's cooler, so just stay with me. But for this one, campaign stages, promotion insignia stages, and hero visit stages now support autofight gear recording. So once you beat those stages one time, they will remember your team and also the gear and artifacts your heroes were wearing at the time. The really good one, though, is the next one. The autofight experience optimization here. Heroes in autofights can now adjust their gear and artifacts. So this sounds like maybe nothing to you, but practically it's going to feel amazing. So this is how it's going to work. Let's say you are running in the background gear aid 3, 24, 21, or 19 or whatever. You're running some gear aid and you queued up 100 auto battles in the background, or 200 or 500, right? When you normally are doing that and you go to try to do some other content, like let's say you wanted to use the gear that Neza was wearing in your gear aid 2 fight, right? You wanted to go take that gear off and do other content while the background battle is running. Previously, you couldn't do that. If you tried to take that piece of gear, it would say, this piece of gear is currently in use on a hero in a background battle. It says something like that. Now you can do that. They will have locked in that fight, and you can take gear off and edit the gear and the builds of those units, take the good stuff off, quick equip, or whatever you want to do a little gear preset and put stuff on for a different battle, different piece of content, and that auto fight, that backroom battle is locked in place. So you'll keep succeeding. You're not going to undermine it, and it's also not going to block you from using that gear for the next however long it takes to do all those auto fights, and then you can't do the other content you wanted to do. Like, let's say you were trying to beat the new Watcher 18 stage that just came out, and in the background you wanted to farm, but then you couldn't get some of your best gear because it was on your Sithra in Gear Aid 3, or your Lady Alex, or your Laura, whatever, right? Now you can do that. And you don't have to worry about that Gear Aid 3 run failing, but you can also take all your good gear from those units and put them onto your Watchers. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of Watchers, the Trial of the Watchers previously went just to 15. It was one of the first factions to go beyond 12. They did Watchers and Esotericists, got boosted from 12 to 15 many months ago. Now it's getting the stage 18 treatment, which is the new high. So we're getting stage 16, 17, and 18. This next one is really, really good too. Quick cast optimization. Individual hero skill autocasting can now be controlled. Commanders can enable this feature by going to System Settings, Gameplay, Individual Hero Skill Quick Cast Control. So what does this mean? You know, at the bottom of your fight, like let's say this was my battle screen. Actually, let's say this, and this is the bottom, and you'd have your little logos, the little icons for each hero, and you can either turn on quick cast, so they just auto ult for you, or you can manually quick cast. Now, if you do this setting, you can choose some heroes to be auto casting whenever they're ready, and other ones for you to control manually. So imagine the arena. Some people you might want to time perfectly, like a Sung Wukong or a Sithra in single target arena, but other ones you might just want ulting every single time they're ready. This is going to be pretty awesome. They've also added a new achievement related to the new stages in Trial of Watchers. They fixed an issue where Ezreath occasionally failed to replace textures when switching from one mode to another, so changing his wings change color, things like that. Very common visual glitch. Anyone's seen it before with Diao Chan, I'm sure, where she effectively is in black mode or white mode, but her color doesn't properly change. They always say they fixed Diao Chan, and I always find that bug after they say they fixed it. Let's see if it actually changes with Ezreath this time. Now, for the specific Demon Soldier Golden Guard, his skill description for Monolith Collision has been updated. This is the optimized description. If you want to see it, you can pause there. Finally, we've got two more. They optimized the quick stage skip logic for the Tower of Deception. You can now skip battles based on your highest historical floor reached, so you can quick skip a lot more. And then finally, a stage support feature has been optimized for the guild member support option. Don't actually know really what that means, but there's some really, really good stuff in here, guys. That quick cast optimization is going to be great. The using gear from heroes in an auto fight, that adjustment is going to be fantastic. The Venoma change, the Gwendolyn change, even the Numera change, really, really, really good stuff. To wrap up, I said I would go over the Guild Wars stuff. I'm going to try to do this in like 20 seconds. So they're adding the Guild War Tier A and Tier B league system. So the higher guilds are in Tier A, the lower ones are in Tier B. This will start from Season 12. During the Season 11 season settlement, all guilds below Plat 1 will be assigned into the Tier B. Starting from Season 12, Tier A League and Tier B League guilds will use different seasonal maps. The B maps, they said, would be easier. During each Season 12 season settlement, Tier A and Tier B guilds will undergo tier reevaluation, depending on where you place at the end of the next season. Finally, during that season settlement, the top-ranked Tier B guilds will be promoted to the Tier A, and the bottom-ranked Tier A will be relegated to Tier B. The exact number depends on registration guild count. We'll figure it out as it comes. Season 12 season launch, they've updated the central keep and the defense towers as they do every season. There's a new theme style, new borders, and emotes. There's a new Demon Soldier, the Tormented Banshee. So they've got a quick description of Tormented Banshee. Maybe it's going to be different for the Demon Soldier version if I'm right about which model it is. They're saying it's a blood spring creature, a speedster Demon Soldier, briefly gains invisibility when it's at low HP. All right. Invisibility at low health. They have optimized the recommended system plans so that it can be applied to all facilities at the same time. I have no idea what that means. They've optimized matchmaking mechanics. I'll believe it when I see it. The Gladiators Gauntlet after Season 11 has been scheduled. It's going to be from January 5th to January 17th. The prep phase is going to be the 5th to the 8th. The battle phase will be the 9th to the 16th, and the calculation phase will be on the 17th. Server 6, you've got slightly different dates. Finally, they are adjusting the demon chests for Demon Soldiers. They've added a new Demon Soldier to the mix. That is going to be the Golden Guard. All right, a long video, but it is a very, very big patch. And I did want to talk about that Kagiri stuff at the beginning, because either he's coming or most likely our second run ever of the limited Selector banner is coming. Let me know what you guys think. If you made it to the end of the video and you appreciate this, please do subscribe to the channel. We are less than 800 subs away from 50,000. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to my editor, Mitchell. I've been Fastidious. Share it with your mother, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.